Hey, welcome to today's next level session. We had a good session yesterday with Heather, some core video email campaign tips. For those of you who are here, some interesting stuff just related to using core video and kind of designing your emails, some tactics there. So definitely check that out if you can. If you're watching this replay or the stream on YouTube, do subscribe to the YouTube channel, smash the like button and all that other stuff. I had today, as usual, just like a little topic, and then we can get into some Q&A. I thought it might be cool if we hopped into the Google Ads dashboard and did some Google Ads stuff. Now, I'll mention that the basics of running Google campaigns can be found in the next level members area, which is accessible from the marketplace. So I'm going to do a few things here that are kind of assume that you're familiar with the Google Ads dashboard. And if you need to get kind of the step-by-step how-to of the basics, you can reference the members area. But the two things I was hoping to play around with was running a quick display ad for a listing around a 1 mile radius. I think we did something like that recently, but I thought it'd be fun to do again. We have a listing here at Forever, Florida that just had a price reduction, and the broker asked me to run a quick ad around it. So I figured I'd do that with you guys live. And then running a quick ad for a niche site. So that St. Pete, Florida condos for sale site that we built a few weeks back. I want to kind of keep making some progress on this. And I was thinking that it might be cool if we ran not only a Google ad that drove direct traffic here while we're waiting for the site to rank, but also maybe try running a micro niche keyword ad around one keyword to the actual search results for this. That'll all make sense in a second. So any questions, as always, just drop them in the chat, and I'm just going to kind of hop on into the Google dashboard and have a little fun here. So let's run this quick display ad for the listing. And the first thing we're going to need is the actual listing. I had it up, but I accidentally closed my tab here. So let's go to our listings. And then it was, let's see, our listings. It's this guy right here, really cute little house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a display banner ad, not an actual search ad, but the idea is that we want this to show around the actual property. And it'll be one of those ads that kind of show on Google's ad network. I always use Zero Hedge because it's the first site that I can think of that has a lot of these. But basically, it's the ad you'll see on a website, like over on the right side here. This authority hacker ad, this is Google usually. That one is Google. And we can run ads like this that show on third-party websites around geographic areas. So that's what I'm going to do now, so that everywhere somebody goes who goes, say, within a mile of this listing, they start to see that this house is for sale. So I have the listing right here. Now, if I wanted to, I could require people to register to see the listing. So let's just take a second to do that. So I'm going to come into KV Core. Wow, for some reason this browser, there we go, it was showing the old version of KV Core. That was funny. And then it logged itself out. Some weird caching stuff. But if we go into the squeeze builder in lead engine right here, and we go to build squeeze, we can do our single property right here. So I just need the listing ID. I'll just grab that out of the URL up here. The MLS number, and I'll pop that in here. And then our source is going to be Google display. I'm just going to use that as my source. And then we'll give it the hashtag 5128, just so we know where the lead came in from. And we're going to require people to register to see details about this property. Let's see how that works out. So I click here, I get my direct link, and I get my short link. Now, when you're running Facebook and Google ads, you always want to use the direct link. The ad networks don't like when you use a short link that redirects to another site. They might turn your ad down, or could even ban your account for doing it too frequently, because this is something that a lot of affiliates do, and they kind of just say, no, you can't do that. So we need the direct link right here with all our parameters added by the link builder. So I just copied that really quickly, and now I'm going to hop over into my dashboard for Google Ads. So right now we only have one running. It's our good old new construction condo ad running for getting $8 a lead. We've done lots of trainings about how to do that. I think the main Google training in the members area of Next Level actually shows the creation of this ad somewhere. And I think we recently did a new construction series about a month ago. But this is a search campaign. So this is where somebody searches keywords like St. Pete new construction, St. Pete houses for sale, and they're searching in Google. What we're going to do now is we're going to run one of these banner ad campaigns. So to do that, I'm going to click New Campaign, the little plus button. And then I'm going to do website traffic for this one. And continue. And then the objective that I want to use down here is display. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to do a standard display campaign. And I'll just kind of name the campaign for the listing. And continue. And here's where it gets interesting. So we want to set the location where this ad is going to show. So I'm actually going to choose enter another location. And I'm going to click the advanced search. So do that. I did that kind of quickly, but it's enter another location. And over on the right, there's this advanced search button. And then I'm going to put the address of this property in 5100 28th Avenue South. Oh, and I did make a mistake there. Sorry. I had to click the radius first. Oops. So I'm clicking the radius up top. There we go. And you can see it kind of draws a circle by default and it says 20 miles around. And we can actually go down to, I believe, a half mile around. Can we do a half mile? Oh, it has to be 1 mile. Okay. So we have to go a mile. I thought it was a half at one point, but that's okay. And sorry, I always do this. You hit the 1 mile. I think you have to have the 1 in there before you type it in for some reason, or it just automatically puts the 20 in there for you. As if you guys saw what I just did, it was just kind of weird, but you want to make sure that it says 1 mile around right here. And that's cool because everybody who is within a mile is going to recognize this address, and many of them might actually recognize the actual house. In this case, it's kind of on a street that you might go down a lot. You might drive past. So, it stands to reason that this is probably going to get nice engagement. It's very local and relevant to the people who will see this ad. So I'm going to hit save, and I've got my location targeting down. And that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to show you today, is that you can do this. Then these location options down here, presence, people in your location, or people regularly in. I like to just do it people regularly in, or not people who have shown interest. It's just kind of weird that Google tries to get more traffic out of you, but it might not be somebody who's in that location right now. So I want to make sure they're kind of in the neighborhood when they see this ad. You can click on the more settings here just to remember what this was. It's interesting. You can say, hey, I only want to show this ad. I don't talk about this a lot, but I could say, hey, we only want to show this ad on specific devices, and you can set targeting differently for each one. I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to show it on all devices, but you might decide, hey, I only want to show this if somebody's on their desktop or on their mobile, or vice versa. So let's click next here. And I see some comments. Let me just look here. Can I slow down a little? No. All right. How did we go from Zero Hedge to KV to Google Ads? Well, Zero Hedge, I was just showing you the example of the type of ad that I'm going to run. So it's right here on the right side. So that's the example of the type of banner ad we're trying to run. So I was just using Zero Hedge as an example. And then the reason I went to KV Core was because I was building the link for the property that I'm going to advertise. So that was the second thing I did, just to recap. And now I'm in the Google Ads dashboard building out the campaign. I could have done this step in KV Core after I've done a lot of this, but I like to just have my link ready to go for when I'm going to run the campaign. So yeah, I can slow down. I'm just kidding around. I tend to talk a little fast, and I've been trying to be a little more intentional and methodical. So yeah, I'll do my best. So what do you want to focus on here? First off, up top, the budget, we can set this very low and we'll get lots of impressions. So I can set this to say $5 a day and get a lot of impressions on the Google ad network. It probably will only cost me a couple of pennies to get this ad to show, if that, maybe a penny. And an impression will be, going back to Zero Hedge, it'll be every time it shows on a web page. So it could be if somebody looks at 5 pages on this site and shows 5 times, I might pay for each impression. But yeah, our cost per impression is very low and we get lots of traffic this way. So for $5 a day, I might get 500 people who see this banner ad, or they'll see it 500 times. What do I want to focus on? I just want to focus on viewable impressions right here, not conversions. And my viewable impressions, the number to put here, you can put like $10 for CPM. It's kind of hard to know what that number is, but that should be high enough that it'll show. I'm going to click here on the selected bid strategy. Oh, it will actually let you do this. You know, for a while they weren't. So I'm going to say you guys can actually click the selected bid strategy directly. And really what I want is I just want to maximize the clicks. Because remember, we just built a link to the property. We just want people clicking over to it and hopefully opting in to see property info. Google tries to lead you down these paths that what they recommend or might work for people with a lot bigger budgets, but we're talking $5 a day and we just want clicks. So I've gone to select my bid strategy, maximize clicks, and I'm going to click next. I'm not going to add any of this extra targeting, but just know that I could add like people who are actively searching real estate. In this case, I'm really just focused on showing the ad in this radius, but I could do something like topics right here. And I believe real estate is a topic. And only show it to people who've been on real estate related websites. So maybe I would, let's just do it. I'm worried, a lot of times you learn when you're doing this stuff, I'm worried that if I pick topics, it'll narrow it and I won't get much traffic at all. But part of the game here is that I need to come after a day, like 24 hours, I need to come and look at my campaigns and just make sure they're working and I'm getting enough traffic by just picking that topic. And one of my things with picking those extra targeting is that it can really slow down your campaign. So just be on the lookout for that. So now here I am at the ads part of my Google ad, and I'm going to put in the URL right here that I want people to go to. And remember, that was the URL I created in KV Core because it had all my tracking stuff on it. So if somebody opts in, I'll know it came from the source Google Display. It'll have the hashtag and all that other stuff. So that's the URL I'm going to use. My business name, wherever, Florida Real Estate Inc. Totally cracks me up that you can't, if your business name is more than 25 characters, you can't actually put your legit business name in there. It's just so funny. So, but yeah, just if you're in a case like we are, just have to kind of improvise. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do images right here. And I'm going to keep this down to one image. I don't really want to show the whole property. Now you can if you want, but I don't think there's any need. I almost want it to be a thing where they're like, they see just the main image of the house and they're like, oh, I want to see more. What's this about? They want to see more pictures. Now I could add more if I want. So I upload the image. You can see here like so, and then I click select and hit save. And that should be fine. And it's going to ask you for a logo. You upload the logo the same way. I happen to have our logo already in this Google Ad account, so it kind of knew that and it pre-filled it for me. And you can see we just have like the logo shows up here, and then it starts to show you to preview the ad. So for my headline and my copy for single listings, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? All I'm going to do is I'm going to do 5100 28th Ave South, Gulfport, right? Because it's the property for sale. Like that. And then I'm going to use, it has this long headline option. I'm just going to put the same thing there. And then my description down at the bottom. I'm just going to grab some of the actual remarks, right? I don't really need to reinvent the wheel. So I want to see, I can't put the whole thing in, right? But I'm just going to grab the remarks. And read maybe just the first part. This beautiful 2-bath home is located on a nice landscape quarter lot that is completely in plain dimension. Oh, wait, let's see. Is it too long still? Yes, still too long. So probably just the first sentence. Okay. And then maybe for my long headline, I'll do see price picks. I can't fit for sale in, but let's just see how it's starting to look here. So you guys can see what it'll do is it'll show you the different ways that they'll situate your ad. Google's AI, their bot, will kind of make all these different versions, and it'll try to show the one that gets the most interaction. But you can see, pretty nice looking ad, right? And this is something that I think if you put it in your listing presentation and you told your seller clients that you were going to do this for them, I think they get excited about it. You know, you have Property Boost, which is the Facebook ad based solution in the KV Core marketplace. And then you can say, hey, I'm going to run Facebook ads, and then I'm going to have I'm going to show for a mile or two around the listing, whatever's appropriate. Maybe it's 5 miles. I'm going to show a Google display ad that shows across Google's vast ad network. So your ad might show on sites like CNN, ESPN, which, by the way, some of those really big sites do show ads from the Google network on them. So you can say that in a listing presentation. And then you can maybe, if you do this ad once, maybe you run a demo ad for your own house, right? Like this. You could even take some screenshots of these and put them in your listing presentation, right? So might actually do that now just so I have this. So let's see, shift backspace. So I can take a couple screenshots. Just like a bonus tip, whenever you're doing stuff to market a listing, try to remember what it is and add it to your listing servicing plan. Oh, and it says headline. That's kind of funny. It's making me think maybe I have a mistake up here. Why does it say headline? Oh, because it got rid of my, I must have clicked in there. It got rid of the original headline that I put in there. There we go. Okay. So you guys are following, and I was kidding before about slowing down. I do take Deja. I take it seriously. Am I moving at an okay pace? Right here. So I'm going to click next. Let's see if Google tells me that I've forgotten anything. A lot of times they will. I'll click next, and you see up top it's checking for errors. Your targeting signals are too narrow. Uh-oh. What's going on here? All right, it doesn't want me to have real estate in there. So I don't know if you guys are seeing this, it might be small on your screen. So Google is saying your campaign can't run with maximized clicks with no additional targeting. But when I had additional targeting, my targeting was too narrow. So this is typical of the ad networks right now. And it's no wonder their stock values are going down. So let me see. I need to add some other stuff. Let me see what happens if I add one more. And if not, I'm going to have to change the objective that I'm using. Isn't that a bummer? So I'm going to undo these. And then I'm going to go to budget and bidding. And I'm going to switch it off of maximize clicks. And I'm going to do manual cost per click. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm not willing to pay anything more than 25 cents a click. And let's see if it'll allow that now. So I'll hit next, next. So this is typical, especially when you're kind of playing around with the different settings, but it allowed me to do that. So basically I changed my bidding to just be a manual 25 cents per click. That might be too low. It might be plenty high enough. And what you do is you learn by looking again, you look the next day and you're like, oh, am I getting any clicks? No. Oh, I guess I need to raise the bid a little bit. But basically we've now got an ad running for this listing. And you guys saw the previews for a mile around the radius. Pretty cool, right? Again, you get value out of this because you get to tell the seller that you're doing it. You get to use it in your pre-listing presentations. And of course, you can directly generate buzz and leads from the neighbors who will click through. And just to show you, when they click through, they are going to be prompted to register, right? This is how the squeeze links work. So if I go to a new incognito window where I'm not registered and I put that in, it's probably going to show me the registration. So you can see it's kind of frustrating, right? So, so it's going to require me to register right there to see the listing info. So that's that. Okay, so that was the one thing I had. Any questions on that, guys? Is this a strategy you might use with your listings? Again, you don't need to just use this on a listing. You could run this ad just to promote yourself. Put a picture of yourself. You could say Ryan Hartman, Gulfport, Florida specialist, or if you have a neighborhood farm, right, and maybe the name of the subdivision or the neighborhood, and you just run it basically in that neighborhood and say, hey, you know, your description on the ad would be, I specialize in working with owners in this farm. Could work very similarly. And it starts to get very interesting if you're doing that sort of thing and you're starting to drop postcards in the neighborhood. Maybe you're advertising in the local neighborhood magazine. You know, this is probably a topic for another webinar about owning your farm on multi-channels. But this, you could use this same kind of radius ad objective to get that kind of thing done. So Doug's saying, can you review how the Google ad goes to your squeeze page? Okay. Well, there was as I was running the ad, let me click edit here. If I'm understanding the question, right up here, it asked me for the final URL. So this is where I put the squeeze link this is where I placed that. So anytime somebody clicks the open or the button call to action in the Google ad, that's where they're going to go. And let's just see if I can click that. Yeah. See, it's just showing me. I could preview it from the ad. And then when it gets there, it's going to prompt them to register. Yeah, in the beginning, I built the squeeze page at the beginning of the webinar. So I built it over here. And then I used the link for the squeeze page in my ad, if that's what you mean. So maybe you missed the part where I built it. Mark's asking, so you need a squeeze page. Google won't share any viewer info. Okay, so you can put any destination you want. You know, the click needs to go somewhere. So in this case, we want them to go and learn about the listing. If you were doing an ad that advertised yourself as like the specialist in the neighborhood, I would probably just have them open that and take them to a page where you have a video saying hello, right? Or some kind of offer. Or you could say like Ryan Hartman, Gulfport specialist, click to see the value of your Gulfport home right now and take them to a seller page. And then Mark's saying Google won't share any viewer info. Google doesn't give you the data of the person watching. You know, they can't do that. Just privacy stuff, and you know, they need to take an explicit action. So you're not going to get that until they register. But remember the value in this. So you can generate some leads this way, but more of the value in this particular example is branding. When we're talking Google display, this is definitely more about one, making people know the listing is available, putting on a bit of a show for your seller, you know, letting them know, hey, I'm letting the neighborhood know, and I am spending some money, I'm running some ads for you. And if you're doing an ad for yourself or for the company, it's about just reminding everybody that you exist, and you're getting these little micro touches on the internet, right, that you're around. So yeah, and then Doug's asking, when the lead registers, what's your next step to follow up? Well, if they clicked on, it's going to depend on the ad, but when they register, I am going to get the hashtag, right? So let's, my other window go, yeah, closed it. Open a new window. So let's talk about what happens next. And you know, I might save the micro niche ad for tomorrow, guys, because it's going to get kind of long. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to save the second part about running a little micro niche ads like for the website we built last week. I'm going to save that for tomorrow about running it for specific keywords, because I want to be able to give that some fun treatment. It's kind of really fun stuff. But you can see here it says log in and get full access. And I'll just sign in with my Gmail plus demo gmail.com. There we go. So I'm registered here, and then if I go into KV Core, you can see the lead came in right here. Now I'm going to be able to see that there's a hashtag. If I want to get fancy with this, if I'm doing a lot of this, I could set up a smart campaign that triggers off the hashtag, right? So I can automatically send an email and give them the listing, right? I could have a little campaign. Or I can just manually follow up and say, hey, thanks for checking out my listing. Are you looking to buy? I can also set up alerts right here to send them other properties once a week that are in the neighborhood. So lots of things we can do to follow up. And it sort of follows our growth system methodology in the Next Level members area. We have, there's a lot of things you can do. If I was going to automatically follow up with these leads, the two things I would do would be to take the hashtag and go to marketing and set up a search alert. So anytime somebody comes in with this hashtag, in this case, I would just send them every listing in Gulfport that was priced between, say, 400K, 900. And I'll send it once a week. And this is probably the easiest thing you could do to just kind of keep your brand and your name in front of the lead. The second thing I could do is I could add that smart campaign. So add a campaign, and I would say, hey, trigger this campaign when that hashtag comes in. Hit next, next. And we'll just say 128th, follow up, next, finish. And now that the campaign dashboard is way easier to use, I can quickly build this follow-up. So I can do a quick email, 5128th South, details, right? And then I can say, hi, thanks for checking out our listing at 5128th in Gulfport just now. Here's the link to the full to all the pictures, other details. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to link them to the same thing they went to online, right? So I'm just going to basically link them back to that URL, which I'll grab from right here. Maybe I'll send them the link that doesn't require them to register again, but they're probably still signed in on that browser when they get this. So here's the link to other details. And then I always close. I say, hey, just curious, are you looking to buy something in the area right now, or just a curious neighbor, right? So I'm just trying to get the conversation started, and then it'll add my signature, -Ryan, and I'm gonna hit save changes. And I must provide a template name. That's fine. Just 20. Okay, and then on the right, action, I need to give the action a name, so it's my initial email. And this is from the agent to the contact, and I'm going to send that 1 minute after they opt in. Save changes. And then what I might do is I might add another tag a day later, nurture. I've talked about this before, where I have this tag that will trigger another campaign that's like a longer term follow-up campaign. And I would run this the next day, and then it'll put them into my longer term campaign automatically. We've talked about this a lot, and I'm not sure I have time to go very deep on it today, but transfer to nurture. But Doug asked, what would you do to follow up? And this is kind of it. I'd set up the auto alerts, I'd send them an initial email, and then I'd put them on just transfer them over to my other campaign. And then I got to make sure I turn this on for active. And that's about it. So those two things are pretty good. And of course, in the Next Level members area, we do lots of other things. We might be retargeting these people, so whether they opt in or not, they start to see our other ads, and there's a lot we can do. So, and then Doug asked, is the main use of this type of marketing to get a listing? Well, the reason we're running this ad specifically is first to get exposure for the listing. We just had what is probably a unicorn in recent markets, but we actually had to reduce the price on this guy. So, oh my goodness, it's a, you know, so it didn't sell in the first 2 weeks and the price was probably too aggressive and we didn't get multiple offers. These things are starting to happen again. Reality is starting to come back. So we're just trying to get exposure for this listing. But the other thing we're doing here is, yes, we can generate buyer leads. And I do think that in the process of doing this stuff, as long as you also tell your listing prospects that you're doing these things, you can generate listings. You know, just think, if I'm a neighbor and I'm within a mile of this property and I see this ad and then I get some postcards and then I see another ad for another listing, yes, this can generate listings, because in the back of the person's mind, I'm like, wow, that Forever Florida real estate company is really on their game, you know? So the answer is all of the above, I guess, Doug, you know? But the main reason for this particular ad is really just to get exposure for the listing and generate us some buyer leads around it. Deja's asking, the search alert that I created, is it linked directly to the MLS? Yeah, you know, so your whole KV Core site is linked to the MLS via the IDX or the RETS feed, via the feed that's coming over. So the auto alert will take any new listings that come over from the MLS to your site and it'll send it out. Yeah, so what's the ROI of this type of marketing? Is it worth your time? You would have to do that. I mean, there's a few ways to evaluate it. If I go and spend $30 on this, and I generate 4 direct leads, I'm going to know in the dashboard here, I can see all the leads I generated. I can filter by that hashtag. So if I generate 4 leads and I get one promising conversation with one of the leads, then cool. Like, yeah, I would probably pay $30 for a good conversation in this market, you know, with the average sale price is 500 or so. The other thing, when I call the seller and I say, hey, when the seller asks me what we're doing, like, oh yeah, we just ramped some things up. We ran a Google ad, we got Facebook going, you know, is it worth it for me to run this for a week at $5 a day, just to kind of keep the seller happy? So maybe there's not ROI there, but there kind of is, because if you're doing that for every seller and you're selling your listings quicker because of it, or you're building your brand because of it, you could make the argument that, yeah, there's return on the effort that way. But otherwise, yeah, that you're going to look at the data to measure the ROI. Otherwise, yeah, is this something you need to be doing? Probably not. I mean, you can just run your, as I've said many times, you can have one ad out there running on Facebook for new construction or foreclosures and have one auto text going and probably just do really good, spending $20 a day on that. So it's a little more direct, you know, generation of leads. So I don't know the ROI though till we do it. It can't be done by KV Core yet. I've been telling them we should probably for about 5 years that it would be cool if we offered this exact flow as part of Property Boost, but nobody's gotten around to building it yet. So, but right now it's not a KV Core thing. You could probably use our success services and have Heather do it, but it's not. If you have anybody on your team or somebody, it's that process I just did. If I wasn't talking to you guys, I could do that in five minutes. You know. Yeah, thinking of leverage. Yeah, for sure. So I'll remind the guys this would be a really cool thing if we provided it. It's not going to generate as much leads as a Google ad with a lead form, but I just think there's definitely value. And in a case here where you have like a team or you have a brokerage, I think there's a lot of power in people seeing your ads wherever they turn. So they're on CNN, they're on Zero Hedge, whatever, they're on ESPN, and they keep seeing your ads for like different listings. It has an effect over time. So yeah, sorry, I hammered that one home, Doug, but I really like those questions because, hey, this is a good question. Is it worth it? Like, yeah, I think so. But it's like, it's not one of those things that is, we're going off the beaten path here. This isn't like KV Core basics, you know, get a traffic source and just start generating conversations. This is definitely like next level stuff. Okay. Just looking at the other questions. Yeah, so I don't see any other questions. That's kind of a tidy little overview. We just ran a geo-targeted Google ad for a listing. Again, I think you could do this for your actual brokerage or a farm, for any number of things, but the basics is you drop that little radius pin and you put a little picture, you know, put a picture or two in the ad, and Google does a nice job of spinning it around, getting your brand out there. Anybody have any other things related to KV Core that you'd like to dive into today? I have some time left. As always, we like to do a topic and then we'll get into some Q&A. And then tomorrow, we'll talk about Google search ads for the little niche sites. Because we spent, a couple of weeks ago, we spent a session building out this website here. But the shortcut might have been to just pick this keyword and run an ad to it. You know, again, the game here with this, if you guys are familiar with what I did here, the game here is to eventually rank this site organically for this direct match keyword and things around it, like St. Pete, Florida condos for sale. But that doesn't happen overnight. The nice thing about paid traffic is you can just go run the ad and get traffic in an hour. So yeah, I don't see any other questions. And if there aren't, we can call it a day. I'll spend a few minutes on that topic tomorrow, and then we'll do some more Q&A. But that's that. Heather had some other ideas too. We'll probably do next week. She had some cool stuff around QR codes. I'll just mention it just to share with you guys. You know, you can create QR codes that text people when they're scanned. They kind of open up a texting module. So we'll be talking about that soon too. And it has interesting implications with KV Core's smart numbers and texting codes. Just a little teaser there, but I'm not seeing any other questions, so I'm gonna get my time. Okay, here we go. Art has a question. Go ahead and drop it there, Art. Oh no, we don't unmute. I guess I can unmute you. So to answer the question about, here, I'll try to unmute you. The replay will be at insiderealestate.com/webinars. That's the YouTube channel. It's just the Inside Real Estate channel. And then I'll put it on that replay. Boy, I haven't unmuted anybody in a while, Art. Let me see how to do that. Here, I'm gonna allow you to talk. Okay, you there, Art?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Wonderful. This is kind of, I guess, off topic a little bit, but I wanted to set up, I think it's called a smart campaign, and I wanted to send out a video of a development that I'm working with, say once a week. And so I want to set up a series of, say, like 8 different videos. And so once I start this campaign with a contact, then they're going to get a different video each week. Is that possible through the smart campaign?
For sure, yeah. So I'll just show an example one here. We'll just use the one I just created. Oh, I somehow jumped into wrong screen. So if I go to a smart campaign and I'm in the campaign, and let's just say I want to send, these were people who opted in for my new construction stuff. All I would do is I would add an action and I'd add an email right here. And then I would put the video in the body of the email. So, you know, email clients, they don't actually play the video. So you would either have to link to YouTube, right? Or, you know, wherever the video plays, or if you're using Core Video, you can use the advanced editor. And we have our Core Video add-on, and you can drag the video in this way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw in the advanced editor, you can add video into one of the boxes, and then you have to include the URL. But with Core Video, you can just throw the video directly on there?
Yeah, if I click the select video here, you'll see it has all my old Core videos in the library. I would, you know, or the other option is always just give people the link to YouTube, which I find to be, you know, just as effective. You could just put a picture of the YouTube video and then link to it from the email. But then from there, all you're doing is you're setting, you know, you said once a week. So I'd set my first video after 7 days, and just change the time value to 14, and it, you know, becomes a. But it sounds like your question was mostly related to how to get the video in there.
Yeah, well, first of all, I wanted to make sure that I could set that up. I was making an attempt and I was having a little bit of trouble, but also I didn't want to put it as an attachment And so that's why I was adding video right into the body of the email, but I couldn't use my own video off my computer. I had to have use a video off of YouTube because I had to include a URL.
That's right. Yeah, we don't actually host the video files, so you know, YouTube's probably the best way.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for being here today. Okay. Good question from Art. I think otherwise, doesn't look like there's any other questions, guys. Again, the replay will be at insiderealestate.com/webinars. We have our playlist right here. It is on the channel streaming now. I just need to add it to the playlist, and that's the Inside Real Estate channel. We have our Facebook group at insiderealestate.com/Facebook group. So if you guys have anything kind of like strategic or next level, or like just want advice from other people in the room, there's some really cool, smart people in that room. Feel free to participate. And otherwise, I'll see you all tomorrow at the same time for some more next level stuff and Q&A.